Welcome back to our 100-day challenge, where we are practicing a daily routine to maintain all the joints, to awaken the body's circulation, help regulate the nervous system. We start with hip circles and some knee lifts. Whether you're doing this in the morning or at the end of the day, you've probably been either laying in bed or sitting still in an office chair or a couch or car. So we're going to remind all these big leg and hip muscles how to move, how to stretch a little bit. We haven't done this movement before. We're just kicking the foot up behind us as if we're going to kick our own seat. A loose knee and loose leg just wakes up the quadricep muscle. This is also new to us. We join the fingers together and rotate the wrists around each other while circling the foot. Now, likely just pick one of these motions. This is a bit of a coordination challenge. Our wrists and ankles have the most complicated joint structures, the most bones. Circling the... We're just practicing loosely moving the ankle and wrist. These are prime areas for arthritis. So we want to keep them as fluid as possible. You can always pick one, do them separately, pause the video, or just try doing them both and see what happens. Today we're going to focus a little differently a little more on the legs. So we're going to be doing a squat motion here that we've not done before. Our legs are neglected quite a bit in our daily movement. We want to, with a straight back, either a shallow squat or a deeper squat. We want to sit the seat down and stand back up. The heels stay down, so it doesn't matter how far you go. And we're just moving through several of these quickly, getting the blood moving. Now, flick the leg out, bring it back and pause before you set it down, shaking out the muscles of the legs. Flicking the leg out, floating it an inch off the ground before you set it down, and then right into our knee circles. So today's set is sort of an illustration of how you can use the exercises we're learning over time based on your need or your body's need. So this would be an example of a leg-focused day where we bring a lot of blood to the legs after we've warmed and loosened them up. And then we do our normal leg exercises, and we've sort of bought credit a little more to make changes. So we've brought more blood flow there and engaged the muscles more, so they're going to be more responsive to our exercises. And it's an example of starting with the legs, which sometimes is helpful for grounding the rest of the motions. And then we'll jump into our usual overhead stretch with rib motion, with our rib side to side motion. So here we're stretching the side of the ribs left and right while we're drawing the arms and shoulder blades up, right here down. The ribs are sort of like levers that tie into the back. So much of this set is centered around spinal mobility, caring for our spine and the nerves, the spinal cord and the nerves that run out of it is a big secret for longevity. So we're going to be using the ribs to pull and stretch the bones of the spine underneath them. So here as well, we're reaching the hands away, while we're elongating the ribs. We just do this in 3 different shapes or orientations. We do it above the head, we do it folding down, we do it stepping out diagonally. So there are actually 3 or 4 different sets of muscles between the ribs. And we're using different movements to pull and stretch those rib and spine muscles in different ways. It's not so much stretch as elongate. Which has a different connotation of actively moving versus passively pulling on. And now we're going to be shifting the hips side to side while our head trails behind. We start to move the sides of the spine. So lateral flexion of the spine. And here we're stretching the hand and foot far apart for a breath. And then starting with the head, we're rolling the spine to the other side. We're doing all this while we're keeping a strong, stable base with our legs. So however high or low you are, doesn't matter. It's adjustable based on your flexibility. But you should notice your range increasing over time. In here, we just sit our hips down for 3 breaths to practice strengthening our legs in this low position. One last new movement for our leg heavy day. We're circling the knee around. You can hold on to something if you want. But we want to scrub that hip socket, take it through a full range of motion. And then we use hip circles again to realign all the major muscles after we've worked on them. This has an effect of syncing them up. And our smaller pelvic rotations. Benefit the lower spine. One more time on our knee circles here. You might notice a little more range. And a couple more squats. Sometimes repeating an exercise is very good to reinforce our learning of it. And then lastly, our Phoenix stretch. Hinging from the hip, weight on the back leg turned out, front leg straight, toes pulling up. Breathing into the waist here. Now grabbing opposite elbows, and again stretching the side of the body towards the foot. One arm then the other, one leg then the other. Once we've done that, we will stand up. Come to our neutral stance for a moment. Refine our alignments, sinking the tail, lifting the head. And we will shake the body a few times before lifting our arms to stand. Making everything round in our body here. Armpits, elbows, wrists, knees. Lifting the head, sinking the shoulders. And then settling our hands stacked on our belly. Circling around our abdomen a couple times. Good job today on a leg-focused day. We will see you tomorrow.